Hey everybody, we are back and we've got an expat interview that we think you guys will enjoy hearing. I know I enjoyed hearing it when
Absolutely.
I first spoke with these guys. Interesting thing, Julie and I, we've given instructions on how we moved abroad, the things we did, kind of given the step-by-step process. And, there's a lot of people out there traveling, having a great quality life, living in a lot of different countries. But this couple literally, I think they took our playbook and they've like checked every box off and are doing everything that we've said that they should do. And here we are, we're going on 5 years into our journey, and they're into a year and a half, and it looks like it's going successfully.
Absolutely, it does. It sounds wonderful.
So we're going to bring over Heather and Tom. They've been slow traveling, living abroad, early retirees for the last 18 months. So Heather and Tom, welcome.
Hello.
Oh, thank you so much for having us on your channel.
Yeah, well, we're glad to have you guys here. So, let's get a little bit of your backstory, where you're from, what you were doing, what brought you to the point of saying we want to slow travel. What's the reason you decided to do it?
All right. So it started back in 2019 when we were in the United States. The last place we lived in the United States was Washington. And we looked at each other one day and started talking about how we didn't think we'd ever be able to retire in the United States because it was just too expensive. But we didn't know where we wanted to go. So we sat down and devised a plan to start saving money to slow travel around until we figure out where we want to live. And our original target date was for 2030. We weren't going to move until 2030, thinking that we needed to access our 401ks. But then come good old COVID, and well, that just lit a fire under us.
Completely galvanized us. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we started saving money like crazy and getting rid of things. Mm-hmm. We sold things, we donated things, we gave things away.
Photocopied everything we could, put them on the flash drives, and
we did that too.
And we did it incrementally, so it wouldn't seem like such a
we wouldn't be overwhelmed.
So it wouldn't be so it wouldn't be overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 4 years, we had enough money
to just pull the trigger.
Yeah, I mean that's the amazing thing is you guys went from a 2019 to 2022, I believe that you launched. Correct me if I'm wrong. So really, in 3 or 4 years, you went from thinking 2030 was your retirement date to making it in 2022.
That's impressive.
We also saved a lot of money by cutting all our subscriptions.
Yep.
So like no Netflix, no Hulu, no eating out, nothing luxurious.
Which was
no buying coffee at Starbucks, nothing like that.
And of course, for a lot of that phase, COVID was really instrumental catalyst in just helping make that happen. We were pretty frugal even pre-COVID, but that really just cemented it even more. To go forward with that.
And what made it easier was that we were already debt free.
Yes.
Very important to be debt free. So now what they did is they've got their early retirement bucket. So just like Julie and I, we saved into our early retirement investment funds. We had X amount of dollars. We knew what we could live on from that money without touching 401k, without touching an IRA. So we were able to retire. I was 51. Julie was the ripe old age of 45 when we did our early retirement. And we knew what we could spend per month on average. And actually, we don't even touch what we thought we would spend. We've been coming in so less than what we ever budgeted, but we have that money. Then we have our regular retirement funds that are continuing to build. So when we get to be 59 and a half, that's going to be there for us to touch and retire. That's what they're doing also. So they've done their early retirement. They've done their bucket for their regular retirement at 59 and a half for those that are Americans. If you're not an American, it might not make sense to you, but we save our own money that we can touch at 59 and a half in retirement accounts that we put into stocks and savings investments. And then we get the government program that we can touch at a lower rate at 62. You can get it at different phases all the way up to 70. 67 is our full retirement age. Some people are at 66 or 65, depending on their birth years of what their retirement age should be. So for those of you that are not Americans, some of this might not make sense. It's really kind of a weird system, unique to America. But we have we try to recommend to people, figure out how you're going to bridge from your age to get to your retirement savings, and then from your retirement savings to your Social Security. But hopefully you can just keep having that build that you can look at each time frame as a raise, and not that you're going to burn out through all your money along the way. But some people do plan it that way, to just get to a bridge to get to the next point, that, okay, I've got 100,000. I can use this for 3 years. I'll burn through this. Then I can get to my IRA savings or my 401k savings, and then I can live off of that comfortably till I'm 67 or something.
And I think that they are living kind of like us, where we thought we were going to have to spend a whole lot more. But, we're living a lifestyle here. We aren't living vacation. We don't go to eat constantly at every 5-star restaurant. We don't even go to restaurants every single day. We're not on vacation.
But we've been traveling during our 1 to 3 months in different countries. Of course, we have our home base in Montenegro. But their budget, what they're spending is so much on par with us. So we've been coming in at about a 2,900 or less average per month. So Heather and Tom, let's talk about what you're doing. What are you spending, and how are you spending?
All right. So we're spending anywhere between 2,500 to 2,700 monthly, and then rent is roughly $1,000 a month. The phone is $127 a month because we still have our American phone. We have a virtual mailbox, which is $10 a month. We have a VPN, which is $3 a month.
I'm using Surfshark.
Yep. Food budget is $600. And we find that that's a generous amount to cover both of us, plus the cats and dogs that we want to feed.
Each locale. Yep.
And then the rest of the money goes for healthcare, personal care, transportation, activities.
Yep. And so you're
we eat out twice a month.
And so you're
mostly we cook for ourselves.
Yep. Typically, the only time to really eat out is usually on our travel days when we're in transit between locales. But other than that, 99% of times we do the grocery shopping and just cook at home.
Yeah. And we're always looking for Airbnbs that are close to public transport, so we don't have to use taxis as much, because those get expensive.
Yeah. So you're doing $1,000 a month for your typical cost of lodging. So Julie and I, we end up spending a little bit more than that because we have dogs, and so we got a little bit different needs. We also try to find a place with parking, but dogs can make life a little bit more complicated,
a bit more expensive.
When you're looking for an Airbnb, what people need to do, and I'm sure this is what Heather and Tom are doing, we'll just verify this in a second, but you plan far enough out, look like 6+ months out. Find a place that's open for a full month, because oftentimes you'll find these 25, 30, 50% discounts by doing this. And sometimes maybe you're not sure where you want to go. You're slow traveling. So maybe you decide that, what country do we want to do in the summer? Well, let's just put your max budget in, all of the criteria you're looking for, and see what starts populating on the map. So you might be looking at it and say, hey, look at this. We got a place over here in Gdynia in Poland. I never thought about doing Gdynia, Poland. We have, because we love Gdynia, Poland. But you might say, that fits all of our criteria. What do you think about doing Poland? So maybe you let your budget lead you that direction.
And
because
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, so it's kind of like throwing a dart at the board, what's going to light up. We oftentimes will chase the seasons and try to get somewhere cool for the summer and stuff.
Very important for me.
but it's important to look for your place ahead of time and put in a maximum budget. If you do not put in a maximum budget, Airbnb will give you stuff that's really expensive, and they want you to buy the more expensive place. So if you say, hey, I can only do $2,000 a month, or I can do $1,500 a month, or at 1,200 a month, then you'll start seeing just the stuff that's in your budget price range. Um, how does that work towards what your typical Airbnb plan is, and any twists on there, or is that along the lines you guys are following?
Well, I do most of the booking, so I always use the filters.
Hmm.
Yeah, we want a washing machine and we want stuff like that. And then before I try to book something, I always reach out to the host with some kind of question, even if there's a lot of information in the listing, just to see how responsive they are.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
It is.
That's actually very, very valuable
Sage
thing to
advice.
do. Yes. Um, what countries have you been staying in so far? Because some people might be going, oh, where are they staying? I mean, how can you afford to do that? So where have you stayed in the last 18 months?
All right.
As we said, we're both from Washington State originally, Seattle area, and we started off in with Lisbon, Portugal, in the summer of 2023. Did a little Schengen time there to revisit a good friend of ours who ran Airbnb there in near the Beja district there in Barrio Alto. And from there, since late July of 23 until the present right now with in Corfu, Greece, we've been largely within the Balkan Peninsula. During that entire time, we have been to Bulgaria, pre-Schengen Bulgaria, Sofia, Skopje, North Macedonia. We were there this time a year ago, did 3 months there. I've done Serbia to kick 2024 off in the winter. We did both Belgrade and Niš, but we also did a day trip to Novi Sad, which I know you guys have been to plenty of times. Then moving on to there, then we head southward to Thessaloniki in Greece. We actually did our first 2024 Schengen there. Did about a month there, and then worked our way up to Romania during April and May when Romania became Schengen. We just got on there when they just clicked over, and did a week in Bucharest and 6 to 7 weeks in Brasov before our Schengen was up there. And then the big stretch was, of course, Shqipilia, Albania. Started off we did 5 months there. Flew into Tirana, did Durrës, Barat was the longest stretch, about 3 months worth. Did a weekend in Eurocaster in early August, and then the last month we spent there in October was in Saranda, and then just took the ferry over just across the way over to Corfu Island. And here we are now.
What else helps us decide where to go is when we look at the bus routes to see where we can get a direct bus or where we can get a direct flight.
Yep.
Now,
and our travel has pretty much run the gamut of everything. We've done flights, we have done boats, we've done buses, we've done cars. So it's been a very interesting experience just seeing your different types of border controls and border crossings going from nation to nation.
We used my day trip too, and they were very good.
That's the cars.
Wonderful. You know, I definitely tell people, especially with pets, my day trip is a great one to consider. So I'm glad to hear that from you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we used them in Serbia, and they were wonderful.
Yep.
Great.
so I do want to explain something for people that are new to our channel and don't understand how some of these travel things work and what Schengen is. Tom mentioned Schengen a few times. So in Europe, there's a group of 29 countries that are in a Schengen bloc. And we have to, as Americans, think of all 29 countries as being one country. And we can spend 90 days every 180 days in the entire block of countries. And then we have to leave. And by being in this block, you can have borderless travel between these countries. However, Romania and Bulgaria were not part of Schengen until March of 2024. And that's where he was referring to them being in and out of Schengen. And also, Albania is non-Schengen. And when you go as an American to Albania, this is only Americans, not Canadians, not British, not Australians, nobody else. Only this applies to Americans. We can be, as Americans, in Albania for 12 months as tourists. And so when they are saying they've been in Albania for a 5-month stint going to some different places, that's how they do that. generally, most countries, you're going to be limited to 90 days. Serbia, 90 days. If you're in North Macedonia, whether you're in Skopje, it's going to be a 90-day country there. So knowing how you can play around in Europe and travel around Europe is very important. And Balkan countries have a nice group of non-Schengen countries. We're in Montenegro right now. This is where we home base. And if you're going to be a slow traveler, you need to understand these Schengen rules and where you can go, especially if you don't want to jump on a plane and go across the world, but you want to stay in Europe, then this is the way to do it.
And I created a web page on our website that is specifically for how to stay in Europe. And it's great. It's got a Schengen calculator and everything, and all these things are free resources.
Yeah. So now you guys are currently in Greece. Where do you think you will go after Greece? Do you have any idea?
So after Corfu, we're going to spend a little time in Athens because Athens has the big hub. Tom wants to go see the Popeye Village in Malta, so we're going to do that. And that's where we're planning to finish up our Schengen time. And the park is open year round. So then after that, we're planning to go to Egypt because we would like to see the pyramids.
So we have a very good friend. We're actually doing a little collaboration with a lady in Luxor. She's, I think, 4'11", Scottish,
Irish.
I'm sorry. She's Irish, and she's been running a hotel down there for a couple decades, I think.
Oh, yes, over 20 years.
And so she has got her. She's made up a deal. She wants to do long-term travelers, slow travelers, to come in, and she's got like a sweet deal for just a few $100s a month, basically, to go down and stay in Luxor.
I think it's $375, but we'll find out and put it on the screen.
Yes, and so it's Mara House.
Mara House.
Yes, Mara House. And so we are going to talk to you guys about going to Mara House, because if you're going to Egypt, we're going to get you in touch with a lady down there, because
They also have an all-inclusive deal as well, where she's got a chef on site. So I mean, it's really a sweet thing she's running.
They do the tours, and we actually have a link to her location on our website, warrenjulietravel.com. Now you guys are doing a YouTube thing. It's like a hobby that you're doing because you guys love cats and dogs, and primarily cats. And so you post up some videos of your interactions with cats around the world, basically. They're not really for income, but for a hobby.
It is a hobby, but what someday we hope to be monetized, but all our plans are not contingent upon the monetization. Crazy Kitty Tales, and the crazy is with a K.
Yeah, so we feed the cats and the dogs everywhere we go.
With your travels, you're coming in at $2,700 a month. Have you had any budget busters or unexpected events or anything that's gone awry or wrong on your travels?
We certainly have. That happened to us in Romania. We got busted on the flight to Romania because our bags were overweight. And we ended up having to pay more. So that's how we ended up in Romania to offset that. But actually, there's a little more to the story in Romania. It started with the flight. It was like an extra $150 because we were overweight. They wanted our carry-ons to be 8 kilograms each, and which is really, we couldn't do that.
It was difficult.
We had too much stuff for that. And then when we got to our accommodation, we had booked through booking.com instead of Airbnb because we wanted to try a different platform. And when we got there, they kind of did a bait and switch on us.
On units, yeah, when we got there.
So they put us in this different unit, and we were very, very tired when we got there. The Uber driver that picked us up in the airport had dropped us off like 500 meters from the location, and it was at night with our bags, and we had to figure out where it is. So then when the host did that, we were like, whatever, I just need to sleep. So we took the new apartment, which ended up to not be a good apartment because the oven was broken. When I called him the next day to ask him to help me with the oven, he would not come over.
Very adamant, said, no, I'm not doing this. No, I cannot come over or assist you with this matter. No.
And then to make matters worse, tell him what the guy told you.
I goes, he basically goes to show me the recycling room on our floor, and he pulls me off to a side to have a little secret one-on-one conversation, and just simply said, you and your wife, you're not to tell anyone that you are here in this building. You are not here in this unit. Do not tell them where you're from. And is a red flag.
And he said, don't answer the door. Yep. And I'm thinking, what's up?
Yep. Is there something that you are not telling us, sir? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he was illegally renting his place, basically.
That's what we think.
Not approved. So he was out there. So you answered an advertisement for a legitimate listing that the government knows about, and then you got this bait and switch to the one that is off the books that you're getting instead.
Wow. And that was booking.com. A lot of people fuss about Airbnb, but this was booking. Wow.
Yeah. So yeah. So now we
and then he canceled our booking. Yep. So then there was no way for me to complain. So what we did was we just left.
Yep. After 1 week, I said, nope. We simply just fabricated the story. We have a family emergency in America, and we have to leave like now. Right there. So
yeah, from there we did go back on Airbnb, and then we booked for Brasov, and that's where we ended up spending the remainder of our Schengen time that spring up there.
And somebody from my day trip picked us up on short notice,
very short notice,
and took us to Brasov. And then Brasov was beautiful and wonderful.
We love that city.
We stayed there.
Yep.
Did you guys stay near the Old Town or near Tampa Park in that area, where you had the big hill with the Brasov sign?
We're very close to Tampa Mountain. A little bit of a walk down to get to the town square and the Brasov Hollywood sign, and so forth. But we're also very close to the big MEI shopping plaza. There's a big Carrefour shopping plaza. There's bowling there.
Nice car wash underground too.
Yeah.
In between Old Town and Shea District.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we like Brasov a lot. Nice place. And good place for residency if you're looking for a place in the Schengen. We got some great residency experts there. So anybody interested in Romania, we'll be glad to put you in contact with them. But it's probably one of the best, easiest countries in the Schengen to get residency. It will have a monthly cost to it because it's going to go through a company corporation that you have to do, but there's a method to get it that's not really a huge budget buster to do. So that's probably the most favorable country in Europe for getting Schengen access, not for residency, but for Schengen. So would you guys ever see yourselves living in Romania potentially as getting residency at some point, or what was your overall impression? You had your bad time, you had a change to some good things in Brasov, but was it overall, would you even think about living in Romania?
Well, for me, Brasov was one of the biggest highlights for me in 2024 in our travels. I loved the unit, the bedroom, the kitchen, just the overall facilities was really wonderful. Not too far from the Old Town Square and from shopping. Had a wonderful view of the Brasov Citadel out in the Carpathians, the western view. But there are a few things just with Romania in general. Heather and I are a little ambivalent about the cost of living. It's better in Brasov than say Bucharest, it's a little less, but not as less expensive per se, because mind you that although Romania is in the Schengen zone, they are not on the euro. They are on their own currency, the Romanian lei.
That part of Europe is developing, and I will say that from the standpoint of being a person that drives a car across Europe all the time, the Balkans, they have some areas where there's some newer highways built, but a lot of the areas when you have to traverse through the Balkans, you have more like country roads that you have to go through. In Romania, while it's got a nice highway system between Bucharest going up towards most of the way to Brasov, I believe there's you have to really get off
It is.
into the side roads. It's not a full clean path, and if we want to go to Cebu or we want to go traverse through the country, it's a scenic drive.
Right.
So just you're not going to break any speeds getting across the country, but it's a scenic drive. So you guys, you're a textbook example of doing things correctly, and so I commend you for launching, getting your life going, and not waiting till you were, I guess, basically having the wheels come off the bus. You got going early enough in life to have some adventures and do some things, and it's not always about dying as the richest person, but maybe dying as the person with the most memories and experiences. And that's kind of the way we look at it, as being the most important thing is actually getting a chance to say you lived before you die. And I commend you guys for recognizing your need to have a life of adventure. Now, there's nobody wrong by staying home in the United States and not getting out and traveling, as long as you're happy where you are and get a chance to actually live. I don't think life is about working full time forever. And the earlier you can get out and actually enjoy your life, the better. So I commend you both for recognizing and taking the steps to get to that level. Any advice that you want to give to anybody to follow in your footsteps?
Well, we could just want to say this, Warren, Julie. Based on our experience and what Heather and I have gone through to prepare for this life chapter we're in right now, we just want to say, especially to everyone back in America, you do not have to be a CEO, a C-suiter. You do not have to have a PhD. It just takes just the gumption, the planning, and the discipline to just execute on your plan. You plan for contingencies when you can. There's going to be some moments you'll stumble, you'll have a pitfall, but hopefully something that is surmountable. We just want to give everyone just there is hope. If it's a goal of yours to slow travel like we're doing, just to see the world abroad and expand your horizons, it can be done, and we're proof of that as well there too.
And when you are traveling, do remain flexible.
Yes.
So, and I do want to say, if you're sitting like they were in 2019 and you're trying to figure out, can I ever retire? How do I get going? First off, prioritize your time and educate yourself to become your own financial advisor. If you're watching a bunch of ESPN doing fantasy football, but you don't even know where CNBC is on the dial, that's the channel for financial news, then you need to reprioritize. If you follow your financial news and think of your stock portfolio as players on your fantasy team, and you get to know the stock CEOs like the coaches on a team, and you look at the scores or the ups and downs, the green arrows on your stocks for the day as wins and losses, and instead of wins and losses on a football field or a baseball team, that's going to be when you're going the right direction. Make it a game. Take what money you have that you can invest and start investing. Start learning how to play the stock market. Start investing. Especially if you're an American, you got no excuse to not try to invest something. Start small, build up. Yep. Then you'll be to where you can retire early potentially. So this goes out to those of you that are 30, 20 years old. If you want to retire in 10 years, you can probably do it if you start socking away everything you can and learning how to invest and being able to live off that money. So that's what I got to say about that, at least for now. But guys, thank you so much for joining us today. And we hope that you're going to subscribe if this is your first time here, that you're going to follow along. And don't forget to join our Facebook group. It's Expat Slow Travel Nomad Network by Warren and Julie. And we hope that you'll join us there. and that you're going to follow Julie and I as we're traveling with our 2 dogs and trying to share our experiences and expenses, as well as sharing experiences and expenses from guests like we have today. So Heather and Tom, thank you so much. And until next time, have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Bye, everyone.